So you, like me and many others that are on this journey, probably ask yourself a similar question. How do you decide what text to learn, right? There are tons of texts out there. There are different languages, there are uh, frameworks, there are uh, just different technologies, applications. So this is like Docker, stuff like that. Um, it's easy to kind of go down this rabbit hole of feeling like you need to learn something specific to a job you want to find, or kind of just what people are looking for when they're hiring. And the truth is, I'm going to tell you, it's probably not super satisfying, but it really, and I'm instantly going to misspell, but it really just doesn't matter. Um, there are massive companies out there, kind of tier one companies, FANG companies that still use Ruby, written in PHP, deeply into Python, as well as, they'll use Nutex. I think Netflix is like deeply rooted in Node, JavaScript, TypeScript kind of stuff, but they'll still have services and things like Go. They'll still use all kinds of applications, especially when you get to software that size. So even if you're thinking in terms of your dream job, they're kind of all over the place in what they use. So that might kind of leave you at a dead end, right? You might not have a super big opinion. You might not, really care if you want to learn C, or if you want to or learn Odin or Rust or whatever else. You just want to know, what should I pick? And this is where it comes down to kind of, what do you want to build? So I think there's a couple ways to look at this, right? But the main thing is, I think the only way to really stick with a new tech or a new language is to build something new. I don't think that this needs to be the beginning goal, right? I know a lot of people, and I'm actually one of the people out there that will build something old, something they know. So, or they'll build something multiple times. So if I know, Node, and I know Python, and I want to learn, in this case, Odin is what I'm currently learning, but you can apply this to whatever else. In Node and Python, I know how to do an easy web server. Right? I know how to do that in Node, I know how to do that in Python. So building it in Node and being able to compare it to the other two, why not? Right? It helps you learn the language. You can see kind of the ins and outs of the language, the technology you're using, stuff like that. There's no issue with building something old or multiple times. However, you need a project to keep your attention, right? And I don't think building a web server 3, 4, 5 times is going to keep your attention. So this is where I think the end goal should always be a new project. So in my case with Odin, it's a video game. It's not something I've done before. It's something that I'm passionate about and I've wanted to do for a long time. So it's kind of a project I picked to learn the language. And this kind of feeds into the other thing, in that the tech you want to learn does not have to be, does not have to be the most efficient. So I think having the project already in mind can help you pick the tech if you don't have anything specifically in mind, right? So, I don't, this kind of feeds back into, I don't care if I learn C or if I learn Odin, if I learn Jai, if I have access to that, Rust, anything like that. I just want to learn kind of one of those to become a better engineer. So this can fit into, I have a project, so let me look at which of those is the most efficient, right? That's completely fine, right? That's kind of what I did with Odin. There's a little more that went into it, but that's kind of the general idea. However, if you want to write some scripts to do a little bit of automation at home in your smart home or anything like that, Even if it doesn't have an SDK, you know, just because the SDK is in Python, you know, why can't you do that in C? Right? Why can't you write the SDK yourself? It's typically just, you know, interacting with an API. Especially if you know the language the SDK is in, you can look at it and see how it's built, and then go build it in the other language. But it doesn't have to be kind of the general standard or the most efficient thing. You can pick whatever you want to build the project, as long as it, you know, has the ability to do that. So I'm talking in programming languages, all of them for the most part are going to be able to do the same things. You just might have to do some extra like workarounds and stuff to learn them. So I know, you know, some people might not be kind of super happy with this answer, but the answer to a lot of these things is kind of it depends. I'm hoping to just kind of provide some insight and some ideas on what you can do. This is kind of the path that I found is the best for me, and I think probably the best for most people, is to just make sure you have a new project to work on. You can pick a new tech based off that project. You can also just build whatever project you want to build in the tech, even if it's not the most efficient, as long as it's possible. But you do need that new project to kind of really hold your attention and keep the learning process going.